Hello bookworms! Welcome to my BEA Book Haul. This is my book haul for just the last week of May, which is going to seem kind of unbelievable since it's such a short amount of time, but I had Book Expo America, which is a convention held at the Javits Center. Anybody who is a member of the press or publisher or author or whoever is allowed to go and get advanced reading copies or ARCs of all of the books that are going to be coming out toward the end of the year or the beginning of next year. It's a really, really, really fun event. This is my pass from it. I went for my blog and for booktubing. And I am just going to get started because I have a lot to show you. This is not actually in the order at all that I got them in. It's in the order that my pile is in because there's just too many to even remember, like, how it happened. This book is called Fans of the Impossible. It's by Kat Scelsa. I don't know how to say her last name. I got this at the Epic Reads party, which was really fun. It's a contemporary YA novel. It's about three characters, Mira, Jeremy, and Sebi, and they're all friends, and two of them are kind of depressed, and another one seems to be their, like, shining beacon of light that helps them out of depression. So it's just about them living and them relying on this one person to help them feel better. It sounds very interesting. I'm not sure when I'll be getting to it because I got so many other things that I love and need to read right now. The next book that I got is Lumberjanes by Noelle Stevenson and a whole bunch of artists. I actually have already read this book, but I just wanted to have a physical copy, and luckily Boom Comics was there and they let me have this, which I'm so excited about. And for anyone who doesn't know, they also just announced that Lumberjanes is going to be made into a movie, so that's going to be amazing. It's about this group of girls that go to this camp and there are strange things that are happening. So it's really fun to follow them and just see their adventures and see them earning all of the badges that they need to. It's super cute. You should read it. This I actually remember. So this is actually the first ARC that I got as soon as I got to BEA. It's Illuminae, and it's by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. Amy Kaufman is one of the writers of These Broken Stars, which I really liked. So this is also the prettiest ARC that I've ever seen in my life. It's hardcover, and besides it saying advanced reader's copy right here, you would never know. You would just have no idea. It's gorgeous. There's just so many words everywhere. It's a sci-fi book. It's classified. I don't totally know what it's about, but I kind of don't want to know, just because I paged through it and it just looks really cool. There's so many different formats between letters, and it looks like IMing or something, and like a script that was maybe corrected. And then there are these black pages that a lot of them resemble the night sky, and text is just written in really weird shapes, and I can't really figure out what's going on. So I'm very intrigued. I've never seen a book like this and I need to know what's going on. The next book that I got is The Witch Hunter by Virginia Boaker. This book is actually out now, so you can get it if you want to read it. No matter how many times I read the description for it, I just cannot remember what it's about, but I know it, it's called The Witch Hunter, so it just sounds interesting, and it has a great cover. It's about a girl, and I believe it's sort of historical-ish, and they're obviously hunting witches, so it sounds cool, and I definitely look forward to reading it. I believe it's going to be a trilogy, and this is the first book. The next book that I have is Everything Everything by Nicole Yoon. This book has been getting a lot of hype. Everyone that I know who has read it has loved it. It's about this girl that is allergic to everything. She's like a bubble girl. She has a new next door neighbor that moves in, and I believe there's going to be some type of romance, but it should be interesting to see how that'll even be possible if she can't leave her house because she's so allergic to everything. The next book that I have is Proof of Forever, and this is by Lexa Hillier. I kind of jumped on this line by myself after I was on a different line because I had heard about this online and it sounds really interesting. It's about a group of girls who are no longer friends, but they used to have fun together, and they end up in this photo booth, and then they time travel back to the past and kind of have to figure out what it is that went wrong with their friendship and what they can do to get back to where they were. And that's also the only way, that's the only way that they're going to get back to the future. I didn't think about how paperbacks would fall. The next book that I have is The Passenger by Alexandra Bracken. This book is about time travel and pirates, which sounds amazing, but I'm a little bit disappointed because I waited on this line for so long, and it was really nice to meet Alexandra Bracken because she's just lovely, and I really am looking forward to reading this book. But I found out that this book is not actually even copy edited, and Alexandra does have a more up-to-date version, so I haven't decided what I'm going to do about this because it was one of my most anticipated books, but I feel bad reading something that the author isn't happy with. So I'm not sure if I should read it now or if I should just wait for the finished copy to come out and read it then. My mind has not been made up on that front. The next book that I got is Gunner Creek Court by Thomas Siddell. This book actually began as a webcomic, but now it's being published by Archaea. This is the first volume. I believe there are 4 or 5 of them that are out now, but I remember years ago, somebody at Borders, that's how long ago it was, Borders still existed, told me that this book would be something that I would like if I liked Harry Potter, which I do. So I've always been intrigued, but I've never actually read it. I don't know why I've waited so long. So I am really looking forward to getting into this one. The next book that I got is called Zeros, and it is by Scott Westerfeld. It's a new book, obviously, because I got it at BEA. It's the first book in a new trilogy. I believe it's about superheroes. The tagline says, "Every power has a price." It looks like it's going to be good. I was really excited to get this one, and I've never actually read any of Scott Westerfeld's books, but this sounds like a great place to start for me, being someone who loves superheroes. The next book that I got at BEA is Soundless by Rochelle Mead. I got to stand on her line and meet her, which was really exciting, and she was really, really nice. And I'm really looking forward to reading this book. I talked about it in my anticipated BEA books video. I talked about a few of these, so that'll be linked down below. Again, it's about a girl who has to save her village. She lives in a mountainous region, and they stop getting deliveries from the top of the peak, and this one girl has to kind of figure out why and try to save her entire community. And it's deeply rooted in Chinese history, which sounds really interesting. The next book that I got is Truth Witch by Susan Dennard. So even though this wasn't the first arc that I got, this is the first great memory that I have of BEA because Christina and I waited on a line just to get into the convention center when it was opening, and the Macmillan booth was going to start giving out tickets to get Truth Witch by Susan Dennard, but they only had 100 of them. So obviously this was a big thing that people really wanted. So as soon as the doors opened, we kind of looked at each other. We knew that we had to beeline for that booth in order to get our tickets, but as soon as people around us started running, we just kind of looked at each other and we were like, I guess we're doing this. And we both started running, and we managed to get there, managed to get a ticket, and we managed to get this book, which was the book that I wanted the most of any books at BEA. So I'm really, really looking forward to reading this. It's about a girl. It's basically about a friendship between 2 girls, which I think is awesome because I love seeing friendship. And she is a truth witch. She can tell when people are lying, but there is an impending war that is coming. So she needs to hide her secret. Otherwise, people are going to try to use her as a pawn in this war. So it just looks like it's going to be amazing. The next book that I got is The Rest of Us Just Live Here by Patrick Ness. And I think that this has a really interesting premise. It says sometimes you have to find the extraordinary in the ordinary. So the back of the book says that there's this boy who is not the chosen one, who doesn't have to fight zombies or do anything like that. So it's about him finding the extraordinary things in his ordinary life, which sounds really, really good. When I stood in the line to meet Patrick Ness, he was signing for only half an hour, and I was lucky enough to meet him, and he was the coolest person in the entire world. So I just cannot wait to read this and all of his other books, because he seriously was amazing. I've never met anyone so cool. Next, I have another book from my anticipated BEA Books video, and that is Walk Unearth a Stranger by Ray Carson. This I got at the Epic Reads booth, and I am really looking forward to reading it. It's about a girl who can sense when gold is around her, and she goes to California during the gold rush era. So it's a little bit historical, which I think is going to be really, really interesting to read because I don't always read as much historical fiction, but I really would like to get into more of it because it's very interesting. So I'm really glad that I got it, and I just love this cover. Like, it's so pretty. I don't know if you guys can see it if I bring it closer. No? Okay. Well, you can look it up online also. The next book that I got is Newt's Emeralds. This is by Garth Nix. To be honest, this came along with Walk on Earth a Stranger by Ray Carson. Like, it was a drop that they did and the two books were together, so I got them both. I don't know too much about what this is about, and I remember reading the back and thinking that it sounded like cute, but nothing too special, but also it's Garth Nix, so I'm going to give it a chance. The next book, kind of, that I got is the first issue of Gem and the Holograms by IDW, and I haven't read this yet. I don't know why, but I really wanted to. It's just, they started making a comic of Gem and the Holograms, which is so cool, so I'm looking forward to reading this one. It's not a book, it's not very long, and I will definitely read this, like, very quickly. The next book that I have is Pop Sonnets, and this is by Eric Didrikson. I actually had the pleasure of getting to go to a Quirk Books dinner, and a few of us got to have dinner, I just said. We got to have dinner with some of the people that work at Quirk who are really awesome, and also with Eric, who wrote this book, and it's great. Like, this is definitely just a book that you can give to anybody for anything, like whether it's birthday, Christmas, whatever. Like, it's just so cute. He takes popular songs and turns them into sonnets, and they're just so fun to read through. Like, you can just tell, like, if you hit the song right, you can almost read it, like, in the tune. It's amazing. Hopefully he'll just, like, keep putting out more of them because they're so entertaining. Next, I have another very anticipated BEA book, which is Welcome to Night Vale. This is by Joseph Fink and Jeffrey Craner, and this book is based on the Welcome to Night Vale podcast, which I love, and my boyfriend and I both listen to, so I actually had them write out the dedication to both of us. We saw one of their podcasts filmed live for the second anniversary of the show, which was amazing, and Maureen Johnson was there because if you don't know that, she does one of the voices for intern Maureen, and I believe it's not really going to have that many of the characters from the podcast because they want people who haven't listened to it to be able to read this and enjoy it on their own and then hopefully start listening to the podcast. It looks really good, and Night Vale is just a fascinating fictional town, so if you haven't checked out the podcast or this book, you should probably do that. Next, I have Lair of Dreams by Libba Bray, and oh my god, I'm so glad that I got this book because I've been waiting years for this sequel. So, like, the fact that it's in my hands right now is just so exciting to me. Like, I with all the emails that I got about delays, I just felt like this moment would never happen. There was quite a debacle getting this book. The booth was a little bit unorganized, and I guess they didn't realize what a turnout there was going to be for it, so it was very chaotic. I managed to get one and still remain toward the front of the line, which was good, but it was definitely a little bit stressful of an experience, but I would do it again because I needed this. The next thing that I have is actually a chapter sampler, and it's from Abigail Breslin's new book, This May Sound Crazy, and I read this, and let me tell you, it does, because it's Tumblr. I have no idea how this is going to be a book, but after BEA, Christina and I read it together, and we were just hysterical laughing for like an hour reading through this because it just didn't even make sense, a lot of it, which I mean, this worked because now I actually want to buy her book just to see how ridiculous it is, because just the chapter sampler was so out there that I can't even imagine what the rest of the book is going to be like, and like I have to read it. So if anyone who doesn't remember Abigail Breslin, she was actually the little girl in Little Miss Sunshine, which is a movie that I loved. And I actually had to look her up on IMDb because I was not certain that it was the same girl, because she's like an adult now and it's weird. But if you haven't heard about this and you really want to just laugh for a long time, I would pick this one up. So that is my BEA book haul. There are a few more books that I got that I didn't talk about just because I don't know when I'm going to be reading them, and they weren't ones that I was very interested in, so I didn't want to bore you since this is already like a pretty long video. But those are the books that I got, and my back was hurting for days afterward because, as you can imagine, that is a lot to carry. I didn't even really go to BookCon, so all of that was just from the 3 days of BEA. Sadly, BEA is moving to Chicago next year, so it's definitely going to be harder for me to attend, but I'm really hoping that I will be able to take the time off of work and go there, because I really do love Chicago, and BEA is just one of my favorite events. And this is only the second time that I've gone. The last 2 years I had conflicts, so I wasn't able to go. But just from the 1 year that I did go to this year, it's just so different. Like, there have been so many changes, and it's really interesting to just see like the constant evolution of the book industry and just be surrounded by so many people that also love books. It's great. It's just like a great atmosphere, and everyone's so nice and welcoming, and it's amazing. So if you live near Chicago, you should also probably try to go to BEA. And that's it. I'll see you guys soon with a new video. Bye! Because I think that a lot of people do put a lot of like emotion on, that's not the word that I'm looking for at all. Everyone wants, well, you know what? Forget all of that. I'm not going to say any of that. There was quite a line debacle. There was quite a line debacle getting this book. I think there's plenty of bloopers in this video.